guys, welcome to my Ocean One channel. I'm going to do a quick video for you today. I think you'll find this very interesting, especially if you watch it to the very end. Top Gear out of BBC, out of the UK, did an article on the Fisker Ocean, and normally I wouldn't do this type of video, but I found the article to be special, so I'm going to do a video over this because I felt like they did a superb job covering the ocean, and I'm coming up on my own 10,000 miles. I crossed 10,000 miles yesterday. I've been super busy recently. I'll probably do my 10,000 mile review. I may be over 11,000 miles by then. I may do that one day this upcoming week. If I don't do it then, I'll definitely do it the following week, but I do have that on my mind, and I will have that out for you guys in a week or two at the most. But this video is all about Top Gear, BBC, so let's jump right into it. There's not a great way to do this other than just talking about it and providing my own thoughts. So I have my Chromebook in the background and I'm going to read some of the article. Mostly going to hit the titles and then give my own thoughts, but I will definitely be reading some. And then I hope you'll stick around to the very end, because I think if you do, you'll find it very important and very satisfying to hear the very end of this. This was a very glowing review from BBC. And from what I've read from them, they usually do a superb job. So it's always nice to see an article like this. It's very refreshing. Listen to this. Handsome, composed, and capable crossover, but bargain price is offset by company instability. Hard to argue with that, isn't it? Current bargain prices, chunkily good looking, lovely seats, massive battery, and some fun features. And then the bad stuff, the only thing they put in the bad column is what we all know. Fisker's on the brink of bankruptcy. So, you know, just imagine if we weren't on the brink of bankruptcy, we'd probably be killing it right now. But, you know, it is what it is, right? They start with the title that says, what is it? And they go on to say, you know, it's a gamble right now. Fisker's on the edge of a financial knife and might not be here next week, next month, or next year. Or it might pull through. It's a startup with a previous experience. Remember the karma. It's got a plan, and in this ocean, it's a decent car, so the likelihood is that someone will come in and bail them out. Boy, I sure hope so. I hope somebody comes in and bails us out, because I really hate to see the ocean die. Such an ugly death here. And they go on and they talk about the risk. I do think this is important enough to read. Some of this I have to read, okay? So this person, you know, they give it the title. I'm not sure I want the risk. And I will link the article in. I will tag it, so, you know, you won't have any trouble finding this article. I'm not sure I want the risk. Fair enough. And there is a risk involved. For instance, what happens to after sales if Fisker folds? It's a direct sales company with no dealer network. It also got a product that depends on over-the-air updates to develop its progress. The V1, version 1, the V1 software was notoriously glitchy. This is V2, so they tested V2, and vastly improved, but it's still not perfect. Adaptive cruise control doesn't work yet. I know, that's a real bummer. I love adaptive cruise. And this car refused to change regen brake settings while driving. I've not experienced that. If Fisker goes, you will be stuck with whatever glitches this car has. If Fisker goes, will you be stuck with whatever glitches this car has? You know, and probably, you know, that's kind of the real drawback here. It goes on and it says, I smell a bargain. What does the flagship extreme version cost? And it gets into the prices here. Goes on and talks about California mode, and California mode is absolutely one of my favorite features. I mean, I love the power, the handling of this thing. But we all know California mode, and it's just an outstanding feature. And it says it does give the ocean a certain vibe, and I definitely agree with that, because I always wanted a convertible, and I never could justify buying a convertible. You know, I live in Kentucky, so, you know, convertible, what, 3 months out of the year. This was just a glowing review. It says, does it feel well built? It might be designed in California, but the Ocean is built in Austria by Magna Steyr, or Steyr. Some people pronounce it differently. The same people that build the G-Class for Mercedes, so they know how to build stuff properly. It feels robust, structurally sound, and Fisker is proud of the 50 kilograms of bio-based and recycled materials in each car. 564 horsepower makes mincemeat of that, and the Ocean has a chassis composure to keep up. Even on the 22-inch wheels, it rides well enough and cruises calmly. We wouldn't say it's fun to drive, but it's fun to be in and around, and that's as much as you can hope for these days. And I really agree with this article. I think this article was just spot on in how it handles so much of this stuff. It sounds ominously like you're damning it with faint praise. In a way, we are. You can tell it hasn't had enough R&D time, research and development, and money lavished on it. The cheap plastics are most obvious, and you'll find some deficiencies in other areas too. There's a bit of surface turbulence on the roads and occasional pitch and dive. I agree. The regen braking is occasionally inconsistent. I haven't really experienced that. I'm really good at modulating the brake pedal and the accelerator pedal. I've had a lot of experience doing that. It's small background stuff, and to be fair, there are plenty of other with bigger brands that haven't mastered this. So, basically they're saying, yeah, it's got a few minor things, but nobody's perfect. What's the verdict? It's easier to use than a Tesla Model Y. That's good praise, isn't it? More luxurious inside and arguably better built. But it has to wear a buyer beware label. And, that's the real drawback here currently with the Fisker Ocean is, we're wearing that badge, front and center and bright with all the colors that go with it, right? Goes on with more praise, and I am skipping some things here, okay, because I don't want to bore you reading the article word for word. And of course, it's deeply fast, and it goes on to talk about just how fast it is. They got 4.1 seconds out of it without using boost mode. They said boost mode just shaved, a couple tenths of a second off of that. How are the brakes? We already mentioned that the regen is occasionally inconsistent, lift off, and you can detect the motors grabbing and letting go a little. What I've personally experienced with the regen is, I think, I leave it in the default setting. I think it's a little too strong. Like when you're on the interstate and you're going 75 miles an hour and you're hitting an exit ramp, an off ramp, and you let your foot off the accelerator or you cancel the cruise. It's really strong. I mean, you have to put your foot on the accelerator to keep it from slowing down so much. And that's counterintuitive, I think, to new drivers, but I adapted to that very quickly. So basically you have to push on the accelerator pedal to keep it from slowing down so much. It talks about how is it around town, and they give it good praise there. Can you tow with it? Yes, of course you can. And what's it like on the interior? The electric or windows on three sides are going to be a gimmick for most of us, but if you carry a dog in the boot, they will love you forever. And I agree with that because our dog loves being back there. How's life up front? Unlike the Model Y and most other electric crossovers, the Ocean doesn't bury everything in the central touchscreen. Yes, that's one thing I despised about the Tesla was there's just way too much built into the center screen. And the seats are really well shaped and comfortable. And although the white Alcantara would be a nightmare for families, it does make for an uplifting interior that helps draw your attention away from the cheap plastics. I love the Alcantara. I just think it makes the Ocean very, very special. How's the 2.0 software? Largely glitch-free. Certainly we didn't have a single warning light pop up. And aside from the brake regen issue described earlier, it didn't give us any problems. Some of the functionality is still lacking though. Currently there's no support for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I think that was a mistake not including that. That steered some people away from the Ocean. Currently there's no support for, I just read that. The adaptive cruise control isn't operational and Bluetooth connection was patchy. Really dislike not having adaptive cruise. Now I get along fine without it, but once you get adaptive cruise, that you want that in your next car. That is not something that you easily want to give up. Most of us don't anyway. So it goes on, it says, what should I be paying? And it says, that's the $64,000 question. It gives the advice here. If you're tempted, it's a game of brinkmanship or haggling. Would be tempted to go and make them a silly offer, basically just to see if they will accept it. If it were us, the Ultra would be the one that we'd look at the hardest. Now, I actually disagree with that. There's so little price difference between the Ultra and the Extreme that I would absolutely jump on the Extreme over the Ultra. But, you know, this is the author's assessment. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And it says, but the answer is yes, you probably will be. Although the next 2 software updates have been completed and are undergoing final assessment. Check that out. That is the super positive news in this. Let me read that again. Although the next 2 software updates have been completed and undergoing final assessment. Now, I've had people on my YouTube channel reach out to me and say, you know, hey, I talked to this person, I talked to that person. It's in development, you know, like 2.1, 3.0, 4.0. They've told me stuff like that, but I've never done an article over it. I mean, I've never done a video over it because I didn't feel comfortable, you know, just taking a person's word for it. But I think that since, you know, Top Gear here is throwing that in there, I think that is super positive news for all of us ocean owners, because, you know, I think in the back of our minds, you know, we're always wondering, are we going to get, you know, adaptive cruise? Is the 4D radar going to be operational? You know, if we go bankrupt, if this company goes under, do those still get continued here? So from the way that I'm reading this article is this stuff has been outsourced in a way, and it's already been prepaid for, so it seems that they are under obligation to finish this. Now, I could be reading this a little bit wrong, but that's you know, that's the way I read it. It says, although the next 2 software updates have been completed and are undergoing final assessment, if you're willing to gamble, you might just be able to bag yourself a complete bargain. And the Ocean could turn out to be the best value you have ever made in your life, you know, as far as, you know, basically I paid full retail, right? I paid $69,000. By the time you added the destination fee and the taxes, I was $77,500. And now they're waiving the destination fee. You know, you can snag an Extreme for $37,000. I mean, that is a screaming deal. But as the article states, and as I would fully admit, if we go under and there's no warranty work and there's no service, that could turn out to be just a complete nightmare. You know, you may have a very minor issue and there's no way to solve it. You may have a very large issue and there's no way to solve it. But I do agree with this article. I think they did a great job. As I said earlier, I will link the article. I always like to give credit where credit is due, so I will definitely link the article. And I would encourage you to click on it and read it because, you know, I left out quite a bit of stuff. Didn't want to bore you reading the article word for word. But it's really hard to fault this author. I think they did a superb job going over the Ocean. And the one thing that I really enjoyed very much from reading this article is that they confirmed what I had thought and what I had believed, is that the software updates are in development. They are going to continue, and they will be rolled out. So, you know, let's hope that we get a buyer. Let's hope that we get a partner. My biggest fear right now is, though, that, you know, we're probably going to have to enter Chapter 11. That's my best guess. I hate to say that, but that's my best guess. I think if we were going to be bought, we would have already been purchased. But, you know, we could debate that till the cows come home. But the one thing that I enjoy driving the Ocean. And I'll do my 10,000 mile review either this coming week or the following week, and I look forward to doing that for you guys. All right, guys. Mercy, sorry. Shoo, mercy, goodness. All right, guys, thanks for joining in, and I appreciate the audience, and I am, you know, I'll do another video talking about how I might change directions here and stuff like that, how I will approach that. All right, guys, thanks a lot, and until next time.